Such a nice person.
My grandfather told me, here's how many doors you want to open.
Don't ask a question you don't want to answer.
Yes,
Same category.
that's what we always said before. Don't ask the state if you don't want the answer. I mean, especially kids are done with that.
There you go. Much easier that way.
Your mother said you were good at that.
All right, I'm going to call us to order. First thing up is the code of conduct.
Okay, yes, tonight we have a hearing, a public hearing on the code of conduct that was posted in the board documents. In a nutshell, we made minor changes to the code of conduct this year. It's an annual requirement that we update it each year and have it reapproved by the board. The only change we made this year was to the definitions that are used in the document itself. Purpose of making those changes were to have them mirror what the building principals need to report and use the same language that they use. But other than that, the code was left as it has been since last year. So what I'd like to do is open it up for any questions. What I plan to do tonight is take your questions if you have any. I will get the answers to those, and then we would bring those back next time prior to your approval of the document. Any questions for me?
I noticed that it referred to as a tape recorder, so possibly we would want to consider updating that to digital recording versus, I mean, I don't even know if we have a tape recorder.
Yeah,
So that was one of the things.
It's a
that
general
stood out.
term. We chose, the one thing we did take out the term BlackBerry, because BlackBerries,
Okay.
while popular, are definitely out of style. We did see tape recorder and we said it's still a recording device, so we just left it in.
8-track or cassette?
Yeah. Now you're really dating yourself with 8-track. Yeah.
Real tracks.
Yeah, reel to reel. Yeah. Any other questions or thoughts?
There was a typo, but I can highlight it and send it.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. With that, what we'll do is close the public hearing. I'll make the change, Amy, that you send me, and then I'll bring it back next time, so at our June 11th meeting for your approval.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
All right, now I will call our meeting to order. We're going to move this to the executive session. I'll talk about that in a few moments. So let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion to approve the minutes from the 5/14 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, now I need a motion to approve the 5/21 special meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, I do have a few comments and it's updates to the agenda. We are going to rearrange when we have our executive session. We're going to move that to the end along with personnel. So we'll have executive session and then come out and vote on personnel and then go back into executive session for the purposes of discussing the employment history of a person or personnel. So just note that if you're wondering why we skipped that, we're moving that to the end. So a lot of these good folks, they're welcome to wait all through that. They may not. Superintendent.
Okay, I have a couple things. The first, I just wanted to remind folks that tomorrow is our second annual Portland County Olympiad. It will be held at SUNY Portland. I know a couple of you are able to attend, and if anyone at last minute has some time and would like to come over to the athletic complex at SUNY Portland, the festivities get underway about 10 o'clock with the parade of athletes and schools. And then it would conclude about 1:30 or so. So if you have time tomorrow, we're hoping for weather that's rain-free. We met this morning and decided to go tomorrow as opposed to our rain date of Thursday. So it's an excellent event. I talked about it before, but just so much positivity. And again, if you're able to make it, we would love to have you. The other thing, I wanted to have Janelle present to all of you. Janelle, as you know, has worked extremely hard as our student member on the Board of Education for the second year. And she's going to report to you some of the activities she's been up to here in the spring, leading to the end of the school year.
Thank you, Mr. Turk. So as Mr. Turk said, I've been working on some projects, so I'm just here to kind of tell you what I've been up to. So I did a student voice survey last March, right? And then I took all that data that we got, which we got around 256 responses, and I was able to take that data and compile it in a way that I could give it to the teachers and make it so that they could kind of understand what maybe they need to improve on, what they need to keep doing in their classroom, and overall just what we were doing good in our district and what we kind of needed to improve on. So that was done in April at the staff meeting. I was able to share the presentation then. And the intermediate, I didn't get to do a ton of projects this year, but I have had the incredible opportunity to do an internship over there, working with the 5th grade. I also didn't get to work with the junior high a whole ton this year. I did do Break the Clicks last year, which was an incredible event, so I hope that maybe next year if someone decides to take on my position that they'll continue something like that. So it was great and it was really rewarding to do. So an idea that we discussed in the junior high was possibly having high school students come over to the junior high. Now with schedules and stuff, that can be kind of tricky, so that's still a really baseline kind of, we're just throwing the idea out there. I'm going to talk about tutoring here in another minute, and we're going to talk about that in the high school and what that could look like. So kind of what are the next projects coming up. So I did send out a second survey May 15th. We got about 122 responses from students in the high school. From this data and the one done last March in the student voice survey, I'm going to take this and it's going to be all compiled into one so that now our teachers can see all the data from all the surveys that I've done and really take that and get a chance to dissect that and see, okay, so now I know this, but how am I going to take this information and start applying it in classrooms, right? So we want to make sure that we're taking the survey data and effectively using it, not just making our students do the surveys, because after a while, they get sick of it. So as far as tutoring in the high school, again, super baseline, but essentially it would involve students going through a process where if they were chosen and they filled out an application, that they would have the chance to tutor their peers. So this recent survey, I just want to take a second to kind of talk about what was the purpose, what was the intention of doing this survey, right? So the survey allowed us to recognize as a district what we need to continue to do as a whole, what our teachers need to continue to do, and then also maybe what we need to improve on. Not only as a whole district, but as teachers in the high school. And one of the top things that I saw in my last survey was that there was a struggle with mental health, right? And there was also a struggle with bullying. So that's why I kind of took this route and took on a second survey. So these were some of the questions, these are the questions that were asked. So what class are you in, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior? Do you believe that our district does well when it comes to handling our students' mental health needs? If you answered no to this question, what do you think our district could do to improve this? What would benefit you as a student to have access to improve your mental health and overall well-being while at school? And then do you feel that our district effectively handles bullying? And if you answered no to this question, what do you think should be done to better improve this? Now you'll notice there's two questions that kind of deal more with mental health, right? And then the bullying is the last one, because overall those were two huge things that were pulled from the survey and the results. And then me and Mr. Abner worked together, and these were scaled questions, right? So 1 through 5, students could choose 1 being strongly disagree and 5 being strongly agree. So my teachers helped me keep track of learning and assess my progress. Teachers provide time for students to discuss topics and learn from each other, and then student behavior interferes with instruction. So what these questions do is when you're looking at, mental health, like that's such an important factor of when our kids come to school is if their mental health is not good and they're in like a poor state, that's going to affect directly how they're getting their work done, if they're getting their work done at all. So we want to make sure that we can provide that support for them and see where they're kind of struggling. So as far as tutoring, like I said before, it was one of the common responses that was done in the student voice survey that was mentioned. They felt like they needed more one-on-one time with their teachers. They needed that more independent time with their teachers alone because they wanted that help outside of class time or homeroom or ninth period because teachers teachers get busy, and even if you have like 10 kids in a homeroom, you're not really getting that one-on-one time, and that's something that students really felt that they needed. So what can tutoring look like for our district, and how we kind of implement this for our students? So although there is still work to be done when it comes to finalizing how this will be executed, what you can expect is to see that all students will need to fill out an application if they're interested. They can get it in the main office of their guidance counselors, and once they fill this out, they'll need to get their paper signed, get some signatures, and then provide a letter of recommendation stating that the student would be a good fit for that opportunity or whatever, subject that they decide that they want to help out in. So what are the benefits to having tutoring be an option in the high school for our district? So it allows students to get help outside of the classroom, and not just from their teachers. You know, sometimes students may feel intimidated. They might not want to go to their teachers, not because their teachers aren't great, not because they're not doing a good job teaching them, but just because it's kind of scary for them. So they might want to just be able to go to a peer where they can feel like they can communicate with them a lot easier. And it makes students feel like they have an external support system outside of the classroom. You know, maybe the teacher is busy. If you know that you have another student in the building that you can identify that can help you, that's going to help you a ton because now you know that you have the extra support if you need it. Students better understand the material they are learning in their classes, so now if they're getting that extra help, they can understand the material, not only what is being taught in class, so you hear it then, but then you can get it reiterated to you by another student, which could help too. And then it just provides students with a chance to get more one-on-one help. And then I'll take questions, comments, or feedback if you guys have any. Nice job.
That was great, thank you.
One of the things I wanted to add, Janelle has helped us, begin to mold what this could look like. And as you can tell, she's very forthright and honest about the good, the bad, and the things that can be improved. And so between now and the time she gets away from us here, I'm gonna continue to pick her brain about ways in which we can better attract more interested students, because we, quite frankly, are struggling with that. And we really do want this to be viable. I think the insight that Janelle has been able to provide has been outstanding, but it doesn't happen by accident, and you don't get a lot of Janelles just dropping out of the sky. So I'm anxious to get as many ideas from her as I can about ways to attract that talent, because it really does bring a different perspective and a nice flavor to the board, and helps us really understand to a greater degree what our kids are thinking and seeing and feeling when they walk in our buildings. So, Janelle, thank you for all the time that you spent. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. How many have applied for it? 'Cause
At this point, I don't think we have any. But we still have some time, right? But we need to continue we really haven't banged the drum yet in terms of going out and twisting arms and,
And we're
being more forward.
ideally looking for somebody going into 11th or into 12th?
So
What's the ideal?
last year was a little unique for us because we did it kind of ad hoc, and by regulation, it's a senior
Okay.
who's been in the district in good standing for 2 years prior. So we're looking for a current junior right now is what we're looking for next year. Any questions or anything else for Janelle? All right, you're the best. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Janelle.
That's what I have for the comments.
Very good. I think we go right into another presentation.
We do. We've got some fabulous Homer students with us tonight. I have traveled far and wide to the state of California, and they're here with Mr. Dolson to talk to us about their experiences. So, Mr. Dolson, I'll turn it over to you.
So, I just wanted to open up by thanking administration and the school board for their support since we started this club, because without your guys' support, we would not be able to be as successful as we were. Only 8% of students earn or are invited to this international conference, and as a token of our appreciation for your support, I have t-shirts for the school board that I'll leave up front with Mr. Bowen, so you guys can grab these after your meeting tonight, and I will turn it over to Anna and Sophia so they can talk about their experiences this year in California.
Okay, so I'll start off. I wrote up a little something. My experience at ICDC, which is the International Career Development Conference, was incredible. I went to an Emerging Leaders Conference when I was there, where I learned how to become a leader not only in DECA, but also in our society. I learned about recruiting, vocational, and communicational skills. Mr. Dawson was an incredible advisor, and Sophia was an amazing teammate. After the conference was over during the day, we were always together and did something fun. Whether it was going out for dinner, meeting new people, or going to the beach, Mr. Dawson always made sure that we had the whole experience that LA had to offer. I got to meet people from all over the country and even the world. I met one girl from Brazil and even one from China. It was an amazing experience, and it helped me expand my knowledge in so many ways. It made me more confident about the future, and it empowered me to think outside the box. This experience was once in a lifetime, and I cannot thank you enough for helping Sophia, Mr. Dawson, and I to go to the International Career Development Conference of 2024. I hope to inspire and more people to go, and that I can go again and bring others with me. Thank you.
Okay, it's my turn now. This entire year, DECA has just been an incredible experience. I mean, going from regionals and literally not placing at all, but going to regionals and doing Toys for Tots and just being together as a group. And we got smaller by the end, but I think we're gonna, next year it seems pretty hopeful for you guys. But I wish I could have done this in my past years, because going to states and actually placing at states and being like, wow, I'm going to California like next month. So that was absolutely just like an insane feeling. And I was like, this just isn't happening. So I got to connect with a bunch of people from all over New York State. I was DMing them on Instagram. We were all talking about how excited we were for LA. And there's a bunch of more Instagrams like the New York State DECA, the Region 9 DECA, which is what region we're in. A lot of these kids are well-rounded, so I met a couple of them at Area All-State that I went to like 2 weeks after, and we connected through that and went to states together. In LA, it was, there's so many words for it, but it's also like, there's so much that I could say. My favorite part was just having, like, the tensions that were high. It was like everybody wants to be here, everybody wants to succeed, everybody wants to win, everybody wants the DECA glass. So, like Anna said, people from all over the country, people from just all over the state. You had China, Brazil. I met someone from Dominican Republic, and something fun that they included where everybody got to meet each other were traded pins. Yeah, I have my pins in my car, but we all traded pins, and it was just a great way to meet new people. You'd be like, hey, where are you from? Can I have that pin? And then you'd exchange with them, try to exchange with more people. But the competition itself was very fierce. There were 100 people, or 50 people.
Yours was 8.
Mine was 80 people. 80 people were in Principles of Hospitality and Tourism. So, did we talk about it at the beginning of the year when we came? We did a role play, and then they scored you out of 100 on that. They took your percentile, which was really confusing to look at, but we kind of decoded it. And then I also took another test, which was 100 questions. And so we're all lined up kind of at tables like this. And the tensions were high, but everybody's so welcoming and so nice. You meet everybody. And kind of just being in the conference room and meeting with the judge, it was so much pressure, but it was the good kind of pressure where you're like, okay, I'm not gonna like shy away from this. I'm gonna go and attack it. I'm gonna try my best. And I mean, out of how many people were there? 200,000?
No, 23,000.
Guys, I'm just overestimating it. 23,000, 200,000 people are in DECA entirely, right?
Yes.
23,000 people there. It was crazy just being one of the little people. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Any questions?
Questions for Anna and Sophia? A lot of questions, right? Okay, who wants to start?
Anyone else want to start? How often do you meet? When do you meet?
DECA meets every Thursday usually, or every other Thursday. It depends on how close we are to competitions. Depending on that, next year we're going to do a lot of different community service outreaches, including Toys for Tots, which we did this year. We're also going to do, on 9/11, we're going to make cookies for first responders. And we're going to try and do a lot of that, so we're probably going to meet a little more often than every Thursday.
So is this during school hours or after school hours?
We usually met 9th period, so I don't
Okay.
know how we're going to meet this next coming year, depending on the schedules.
As a senior, I'd love to see, well, at the beginning we had almost 30 kids in the group. We had 18. My statistics are a little off. It feels like a lot more people.
I need you as my banker.
Not my strong suit. But we had 18 people that we brought to regionals with us, and that was at Lemoyne. And it was like everybody, we would just go in, we'd prep together, we'd do role plays together. Some of us would take it seriously, some of us wouldn't. But that was the good balance between having the freshmen and the seniors. Like, I never thought that I'd be hanging out with Anna on a field trip together to LA. But and then after regionals, we prepped more for states, so it was a smaller group, and that got more intense. Then I was like, oh wow, I'm going to LA. I need to actually. I focused a little bit more, sunk my teeth in more, and yep.
Did the group get smaller because people dropped out, or because only certain people could advance?
Only certain people could advance.
Okay.
And like Anna said, we're expanding a lot of the community outreach we plan on doing next year. Another thing we're planning on doing for next year is we're going to run a drive where we're going to try and get businesses more involved with business club. We're going to look at bringing in business leaders to be judges for them in their role plays and give them feedback to help them better prepare for states and the international conference. Going out there, we learned a lot about what other schools are doing, what makes them successful. So rather than reinventing the wheel, I got to go to professional development as well, and I told Mr. Turk I'm going to send him and Mr. Van Etten a copy of that presentation for you guys to see at your next meeting, and just a lot of the ideas and the things that the officers are coming up with to kind of move the club forward and get the entire community a lot more involved in it. And the beautiful thing about it for me is it's student run. They're learning from a business standpoint how to be leaders.
Yeah, it's definitely made me more confident, especially in my speaking skills. And I went into it and I'm like nervous. I'm like, what is this? Like, oh my goodness. And I want to bring more people into this because you truly can find yourself who you are as a person, and it'll truly help you in the real world in so many ways.
I feel like it's important to kind of incorporate business in school. So Mr. Dolson has how many classes? I don't want to get the number wrong.
7.
Has seven business classes.
77.
7 business classes, and I mean, it kind of ties in similar things to BOCES. Like you have the medical programs at BOCES, you have construction, and I'm going to college next year for business. So kind of getting the younger kids who are like, oh, maybe medicine isn't my career, construction or automotive, building cars. The people on the business side, maybe they're like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And a lot of people didn't know about TECA before. So I think us definitely going, open eyes to more people, and they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. But
So when you say your competition, can you just remind me again what exactly you had to put together to compete?
yeah, so we had regionals, then states, then ICDC, which is the International Career Development.
No numbers in that one.
Acronyms too. So it was kind of the same thing for everything. We would take a 100-question test, and before regionals, that was online. Before states, that was online. And then when I went to LA, that was in person. So like I said, we sat at long tables, and these were the people that you were competing against. So all the people in my row were from hospitality and tourism. So you have an hour and a half at ICDC to take the test, 100 questions. I got through it in about like 45 minutes. Some people were done so fast, and you know the pressure when everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm leaving. And you're like, okay, just stay focused. But then when we were in the classrooms and we had to work on it online, it was smaller groups because it was just our club. So by states, we had a few people in each category. I think we had 2 or 3 different testing days. So it was definitely less nerve-wracking, but the testing, it's, you get it right or you get it wrong. So it's,
But like,
you get,
what were some of the questions about? What are they?
they're mostly business questions, obviously, but some of it's about finance, some of it's about entrepreneurship. And then going into the role plays, my role play was hospitality and tourism. So my first one was about like Bamazon, which was Amazon, and they weren't as big as something like Amazon. So they wanted to focus on how do we get more people here? How do we get the customer relationships that we want? And then my second one at States, which I scored 96 on, a 96 on. That one was about helping an employee communicate with a customer. So they're like, what should I do if their card declines? Yeah, what do you do if their card declines? So kind of like even stuff in Homer, like real life has helped me with that. Like I've had to deal with at work people's card declining, so I was like, oh, perfect. And then in LA, it was taking a college student and answering their questions about how do you be a manager at this place? How can you communicate with people better? So it's a lot of communication skills, a lot of prior business skills, which you prepare for through multiple choice. There's videos that you can watch which really helped, like the week before. I was just watching all the videos on YouTube by the bow tie guy. So those are cool.
A role play for anyone that's wondering, because I came into this not knowing. So you come in and you get like almost like a mock interview, and it says you are the manager of this company. The judge is a confused customer. You get 10 minutes to prep, and then you have 10 minutes to present to a judge. For anyone that was confused.
And the one side note is these are built on the national business standards, national industry standards, and there's over 200 learning objectives that these are pulled from as well. And if that was information you guys wanted, I can get that off the DECA website and print it if you guys wanted to take a look at that as well.
How long have we had DECA?
This was year 3. So I started March 3 years ago, and it was an FBLA club then, and I wasn't very familiar with it, so I kind of moved it to DECA my first half year here, and did my best job recruiting, and ended up with 7 last year that did it, and then grew to 18 this year. So it's going to be year 4 next year.
I'm hoping for 38.
Yeah, the sign-up sheets look pretty good. I was looking at them and I was like, full?
I'm
Full?
recruiting every
Full?
class. I'm like, so.
Other questions for these folks?
I appreciate you coming in and wanting to hear about your experiences this year, so thank you. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you guys having us, and thank you again for all your support.
Well, when you come and you spend the time presenting to the board, we bring certificates. So we're just so thrilled to have you as part of the Homer School community, and what you shared with us, with the board, and with the public through the wonderful internet shows why Homer is different than other places in such positive ways. And you two young ladies are such a big part of that. So thank you for being you, and thank you for coming to share with us tonight. So we have some certificates here to recognize you being with us. So.
Thank you.
You get practice here, so at some point you do this graduation, so you get a diploma.
Thank
and
you.
we'll shake your hand. We have one for Mr. Olson as well, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate it. And this is the time when you can choose to stay for the rest of the meeting. We love an audience. If you have something else that you would rather do, eat or something, feel free to leave and we won't be offended by
I have
that.
homework.
Yes, that's the right answer. That's the right answer.
Thank you.
Thanks again, folks.
Thank you.
So we'll keep right on going. We have another group that would like to speak to you tonight. We have our building principals who have provided some information. We put it in the packet, but I also wanted to give them an opportunity to highlight some of those end-of-year activities that you might find time to come and experience. So, Mr. Pascarella, I see you handing the document to Ms. Sullivan.
Mrs. Hammond hasn't had the opportunity to attend our end of the year celebrations. This will be her
Only
first
as a
time.
mom. Only as a mom.
So she cannot speak to our first one, which I would ask you to note it on your calendar, but June 7th is the senior walk. We've started that a couple years ago. I would tell you without a doubt, probably one of the top events we do here in our district. So I would say to you, join us on the Village Green, have an opportunity to see what our students are going to be doing after graduation. We have them speak, we have them grab the microphone, tell their name, their future career aspirations, whether it be college, workforce, or military. or whatever they may be doing after graduation. So I do tell you to attend. It's really powerful. The neat part after is the kids that take pictures with the various graduates, because they will all have their caps and gowns on. So it's a great opportunity for those kids to get connected with family members, friends, neighbors, and take pictures on the village green. So please join us for that. And then on June 13th, we're asking you to come and serve snow cones. We'd ask you to be ready, have your gloves on, and be ready to pump the flavor of choice. But we do ask you to help if you would like to. Come on out for that. That will be done on the village green. If you notice the times that are listed for you, the first time is for them to be at field days, which will be on the backfield. We're looking forward to being there. This is the first year we're bringing all 4 grades to our campus. In the past, we brought 2nd grade to either JM or the high school. But 3rd, 4th, 5th grade has taken on the opportunity now to make that the next step for our kids to look forward to. So I don't know about you guys, but field days was a thing that I remember. That grape juice that we had, and no one knew what the juice was. We loved it. The balloons that we sent off to see if they would get to a foreign country, but only made it to the neighbor next door. So again, we have different events that we do at our field days, but we would ask you, come be a part of that, come see that, because it really is a festive time for us in our school as we celebrate that. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't say, but tomorrow, it's not on there, but tomorrow we are going to honor our athletes with a walkout. So we'll start at the library, and they'll parade all the way down to the pre-K hallway, down the bottom stairs by Mrs. Heyer in the cafeteria, parade out the front door as we send on our Olympians to go participate at Corpus State. That starts at 8:50, but we're lining the hallways. So if you'd like to be a part of that, please stop by. That starts at 8:50 if you can't make the 10 o'clock show. And I heard we have a pretty good MC over here at the college too. I think he likes to put himself on.
It's silly to give me a microphone, that's all I have to say. All right, any questions for Doug or Aaron? Thank you, folks. We have Mrs. Cinquanti pitch hitting for Mrs. Falls this evening to share some of the activities taking place at the intermediate school.
Yes, I gave Mr. Turk our list last week. A few more copies, we can get those to you. As Mr. Pasquarello said, we have several field days going on for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders here at the high school. Every 3 or 4 years, they try to change the topic. So last year it was all of the athletes came to support. So we had a volleyball station, basketball station, that kind of thing. I'm not sure the topic this year, but that is on there. We have various walking field trips that 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders have invited you to. Jerky Park, one of them is going to Super Cream. So there's various events on there, as well as a few assemblies and leadership recognition. So there's a list there for you for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, and hope to see you.
Questions for Kristen? Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Mrs. Schneider, the junior high school.
All right, I know you have it digitally, but I brought some copies too. Not in color. Mr. Pasquarello, I'm so sorry. They don't give me one of those fancy copiers in the main office. You can see a bunch of our grades are going to be going on some end-of-year field trips. All of our classes will be going on field trips on June 20th. So we are excited about that. They're all visiting different local parks to celebrate the end of the year. On June 14th, we're going to have our 2nd, maybe annual, tractor parade. And we are inviting you to come to the junior high intermediate. If you're available, it should be coming through around 9 a.m. Now last year, we were able to drive them on the back fields and have classes kind of come out and see them. Now with where the playground is, we're going to try to get those through that new front loop. So hopefully we don't hit any curbs, but it's going to be exciting. So you're welcome to come out, and they're going to park the tractors, and the kids are going to be able to look at them and ask questions. And it's a nice partnership because some of the high school students will bring the farm equipment that they've worked on or their families have down to the school. So the kids had a blast last year. So welcome to come to that. And then the last day with students on June 21st, we're going to have our grade level awards. Would love you to make any or all that you can come. It's always fun to celebrate the success of our students. And then in the afternoon, if you're really looking for a good time, come to our barbecue and games outside. We're going to have a bounce house, we're going to have a photo booth, we're going to have food, lots of good things. And I think maybe a snow cone machine if our SCA wants to do that again. So if you want some more help with pumping the syrup on our snow cones, you can come to the junior high. We'd love to see you.
Great. Questions for Kara? Thank you. And Mr. Van Etten, the high school.
So it's nice to hear Mr. Pasquarello and Mrs. Schneider talk about some of our ways to connect back to the schools that our students have come from. tractor parade evolved from a tradition of just a little bit of chaos and driving parking tractors in the parking lot the last day of school, and it's really come along into something productive, both to let students present and show their love for what they do with their equipment, but also again encourage that study of agriculture that we're trying to reach across the district. These are all been sent by Parent Square last Friday, so if you got messages at noon time from me, if you're a high school parent, that's why. But June 7th will be a fairly busy day. Doug talked about the senior walk for seniors. That's also prom day. So after the senior walk, those seniors that have permission to go home will go home and get ready for the prom. That's kind of their day. They'll get their yearbooks that day as well. Our juniors will come in and start out with the grade 11 award ceremony. Parents will be invited for students that will be receiving an award that day, but the entire 11th grade will be in the auditorium. Then they'll get yearbooks and they'll be dismissed. Again, if they have parent permission to prepare for the prom. 9th and 10th graders will have their award ceremony a little bit later on. They'll start just before 9 o'clock. And again, similarly, parents of recipients will get an invitation so they're aware of that. 9th and 10th grade classes will be there to see that occur. They'll get yearbooks and then they'll go out to the 10th grade class plan field day, which has been a nice tradition that's grown with our sophomores planning a day of activities for the student body and staff. Follow that and plan out, finish out the day at the 7th. Fortunately, cafeteria's jumped on board. We'll have some delicious field day fare. We might have had a piece of ice cream or an appropriate non-dairy treat where it's so needed. And obviously then for our juniors and seniors, they have prom night after prom party. We're so happy to have the parent support for that decades-long tradition out here at home. Things get a little bit busier for seniors. After that, right, lots going on with our seniors, and I need to look back at my post so I don't misquote dates, because somehow I was quoting Saturdays at one point in a meeting. I think that was the top 10% thing for the parents. Like, isn't that a Saturday, Mr. Evans? It is. The seniors will go on senior trip June 15th and 16th to Pocono Valley. Large, decent sized number, 40 plus signed up for that. We're excited for that. June 24th was the day I tried to schedule on a Saturday. June 24th, on Monday, will be our class of 2024 senior day. The senior class officers want to come together that morning with a senior sunrise celebration. That'll be kind of at the start of the school day. The night will end then with senior night and awards. You heard me talk about the grade 9, 10, and 11 awards assembly. The bulk of what has been honors and awards night has typically been senior awards. So replacing the senior banquet will be the senior night and awards. We're inviting all families, all students to come to that. We'll carry over some of the traditions from the senior banquet. The class will have a speaker that will kind of kick off that week of graduation. We'll look to have some light refreshments there and go through with our program of senior awards. And then, of course, Saturday the 29th is commencement. Mr. Turk has promised me sunny weather, but not too hot like a couple of years ago, not too rainy like a couple of years ago, but just right. So I appreciate Mr. Turk's work on that endeavor. Mrs. Jacqueline will let the minutes reflect that. And lots going on as we head towards the end of June, sending off our seniors onto their future. Love to have you at any of those events. That's kind of district or school-wide events, but there's a lot of other things that are going on too. We're doing French and Spanish National Honor Society inductions the night of June 6th. I could go on and on. It's really a wonderful time of year as our students and staff have planned celebrations together. Thank you.
Questions for Mr. Van Ack? Thank you for sharing all those wonderful opportunities. When I looked at the list, my first thought was how exciting. And then my second thought was how exhausting. So pace yourself. But there are a number of great opportunities to see our kids, so I hope you're able to take advantage of some of those.
We'll turn to new business. Motion to approve the warrants.
Second.
Questions or comments? I'll add a comment. Normally we would be doing the warrants and the claims auditor's report. The claims auditor's report is not included. We'll do that at future meetings, but just in case you were wondering, don't we usually do those together? You are correct. Those weren't quite ready for our time tonight, so we'll get those the next week. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? For information, you have the investment summary and the budget status report and the revenue status reports. Now we'll turn to a motion for the report of the Committee on Preschool Education, Special Education.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Now we need a motion to approve the reports from the Committee on Special Education.
So moved.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Need a motion to approve the disposal of items from the intermediate and high school.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to accept the varsity club donations.
So moved.
Questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you much. It's nice to see the memory of Shelley Wright lives on.
Further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the OCM BOCES agreements.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the award of bids for the 2021 capital improvement project, the Butts Field scoreboard and sound system.
Second.
Questions or comments?
Looks like the bids came in favorably.
Very favorably,
Nice.
just over half of what we had built into the project, so that's good news. It's allowing us to do some other things, which you'll see the next item that you're gonna be asked to approve as well, so
Excellent.
all good things.
What's the timeline expectation for
This summer.
Start to finish?
Yeah, this
Finish
summer, the
by
goal,
fall?
the tentative schedule has them finished with the scoreboard and the sound system by the start of school in September. Because if you remember too, the press box is being replaced. That will be gone for graduation, so they're gonna be taking that down the 3rd and 4th of June. We'll be cordoning that off so we can utilize the bleachers for graduation and all those kinds of things. But the goal is to have everything buttoned up and ready to go by September when we come back. But don't hold me to that, but that's the goal. That's the goal.
Further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the award of bids for the 2021 capital improvement project backstops.
Second.
Questions or comments?
These are indoor backstops?
So backstops is a little misleading. It's the motorized function that makes the back hoops go up and down. Right now, we use a wrench, power
Big
wrench.
shepherd's hook?
Yeah, and the custodians will love this feature, and because again, the other bids came in so favorably, it allowed us to add something back in that we had to cut before, so.
Excellent. Thank you.
So by the time we're finished, we'll have completely redone both the intermediate and junior high gymnasiums piecemeal. In addition to that work being done, we'll also be painting it, both gyms to match the high school gym this summer too.
We got rid of those yellow lights after 50 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, long time coming.
Yep.
Additional questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the Rotary Foreign Exchange student for the 24-25 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments?
Do they have their host family?
They're still in the process of finding host family. Typically, they try to find 2, so they're in the process. But and I thought, thankfully, no one asked me to pronounce her name because her name there's about 6 different words in there that I don't know that all those words, those letters go together. But so, Caitlin is what I'm calling her. So Caitlin will be coming in the fall, and I'm sure they'll have some place reside.
Tom, where's she from?
Netherlands.
Additional.
You don't want to pronounce that town. that she's
Say
from?
again?
You don't want to pronounce the town that she's from?
Nope.
Just giving you a chance there.
If you just stop down to the library, Marcia can help.
Oh, that's true.
So
Okay.
she'll educate you on how to pronounce it so you can figure it out too.
There are a couple letters I've not seen before.
Oh, yeah. Additional questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No abstentions. All right, need a motion to approve the internal audit and corrective action plans.
So moved.
Second?
Questions or comments?
Looks like the typical low-risk tickets and cash and.
Yeah, the
Pretty
audit,
stuff.
yeah, so the audit committee met last week and looked at those, and what you're approving tonight too is the corrective action plan to address those. The one that was medium, was a central business office staffing function up at BOCES that's been remedied, so.
Have we identified any areas of deeper dive for the external audit?
Not as of yet.
Additional questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, we moved personnel towards the end, so that brings us to informational items.
Yes, we have some informational items for you. The first is a fundraising update. Our FFA group are seeking donations for their silent auction to be held on June the 11th. And I believe they gave all of you an invitation to that evening as well, on June 11th? No?
Brookhead said.
Brookhead would have done
I
it,
saw the
yeah.
parents were.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. But again, what we can do is make sure that we send it out so that you have it again, if you haven't seen the Parent Square. Always a nice event. The other I have is the 2024-2025 board meeting schedule draft. So what I've put in the document is a list of the board dates. The one I'm gonna ask you to spend some time with between now and the next meeting, if you would, are the presentations. What I did when I built this the other day was to just mirror what we've done this year. If there are topics, things that you would like us to speak to you about that aren't on the list, would you let me know that? And then I can insert those into areas where we have some wiggle room, because there are 4 or 5 meetings in a row where it's just budget, but even last year, or even this year, we've added some additional things in. So take a look at that if you would. Please get those to me, and then I'll make those modifications and bring it back to you on the 11th for your approval. And that's what I have for information like.
We've reached the time for public comment, and I can't quite read the sheet from here, but I don't know if there's anybody signed up or anybody wishing to share with us. We'll take presentations, interpretive dances, whatever. No, all right. Let's see. Board committee reports. I know audit committee met. I think we've covered that.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions folks have for the audit committee? I don't believe we had any other committee reports.
We do not.
So board member activities.
Lacrosse season still, and the boys are still going strong, so big game tomorrow that we're excited for. Yeah, they're doing really well.
5 o'clock start.
I know, full in.
Yeah. Janesville, DeWitt, and Homer travel to Fulton. Yeah.
Common ground.
True 841, all that.
We'll get there.
But it's not gonna be too hot, so it'll be nice.
It'll be nice.
It's really hot.
Yeah.
Saturday was really hot, and shout out to our athletic director, because he was out there with wet towels, wetting the boys down in timeouts, and, yeah, he was there for them.
We had a band concert, right? We had a band concert? Band concert, bunch of games for track. Really have enjoyed watching the track meets. It's a very positive experience, and
So I went to the dinner at the lodge in Skinny Atlas, the Central New York School Board Association dinner. It was definitely out of my comfort zone, but I'm glad I went, and it was a very nice meal, and they do raffles, if that inspires anybody to check it out in the future. There was a girl at our table that won stuff. I don't know how they put our table together, but we shared space with nice people, and it was a nice experience. I'm glad I checked it out. And I also, so I have a son who's in track, but I thought it was really fun the day there was a baseball game going on right next to the track. Maybe other people didn't like that so much because it probably was a disaster for parking, but it was fun for me to see all the little people that I used to cheer at Little League, spending hours in the sun at Little League. So it was like, it was fun to see them still playing and still doing that, and you know, I'm doing my laps over at the track. So, and the concerts, I love our concerts. I think that I'm always amazed by the art that surrounds us and the music that our children make. It's just, it amazes me.
All right, upcoming events.
Speaking of opportunities to see our kids, later this week on Thursday evening, well, actually tomorrow night, you've got the fourth grade band, chorus, and soul singers concert, if you're not headed to the lacrosse game. On Thursday, you can hit two things all at the same time. The intermediate junior high adventure in the arts. They'll have the hallways and the lobby of the intermediate junior high school Bonnet Auditorium all decorated with our student art. And then if you stick around till 7 o'clock, you can go in and enjoy the vocal concert with our junior high students. So a real nice evening, and you don't have to travel hither and yon to get there. So hope you're able to attend those.
Now I need a motion to move to executive session to discuss the employment of a particular person or persons.
Second.